Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video. This is another paid request, this time from iLoveIdiot1. Actually, one of two Transformer reviews he wanted me to do. Sorry for delay, had to take me a bit to find these movies, but did ultimately. And for those interested in requesting any type of videos or topics, reactions, commentaries, reviews, video game stuff, whatever, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. And this is first off for the film Bumblebee from 2018. Now, I'm the first to admit that I made fun of the movie quite a bit. Bumblebee tuna, I don't do shit about Bumblebee tuna, bumblefuck, whatever. Because at that point, I had seen clips and pieces. I'm like, okay, is this kind of just redoing the first film? Because you have a younger human try to bond with Bumblebee, and then they go on this adventure, and there's the Autobots, there's this Decepticons. Now, I grew up with the Transformers cartoon a bit, not as much as other people, but I do remember enjoying the cartoon. I never liked the animated movie from the 80s. I know that's sacrilegious to say. Sacrilege! I think the soundtrack is the best part of that movie. It's a great soundtrack. I love the score by Vince Nicola. I love the song The Touch and Dare. Not really big on the Weird Al Yankovic song, which seems very, very out of place. And I'm not a fan of that movie. I'm not a fan of them killing off most of the Autobots you liked, including Optimus, so that they could get a new crew of characters to sell more toys. Because at the end of the day, Transformers was made to sell toys. But they didn't realize that people would actually grow to like these characters and enjoy them in a bit more of that type of factor. I didn't give a shit about Hot Rod, voiced by Judd Nelson, who sounded like he could give barely an iota a fuck. Cool to hear Leonard Nimoy and interested to hear Orson Welles. I don't like the animation, so there's stuff to like about it, but I just don't care for the story and what they did with a lot of the characters. Cool soundtrack, though. The first Transformers in 2007, the live action, I remember not minding it when I first saw it because of the spectacle, because of, wow, to see these figures, live action, big screen, big bombastic action, maybe some dumb fun. I don't mind Shia LaBeouf as an actor. I like him in Eagle Eye. I like him in Disturbia. I don't hate him like other people did. At the time, Megan Fox, I'm like, okay, she's, whatever. I don't think she deserved a film career. That's just me, though. But yeah, I liked it for what it was, but as time has gone on, it's hard to rewatch that. You just see what it started. The trajectory of a lot of these movies. Having longer and longer running times, having longer and longer fights that feel to go on for 40 minutes. More and more of the human characters that become less and less interesting. Less and less of the Transformers, which is what people go see the movies for. Less and less character work. Less and less characteristics and dynamics between the characters of the Autobots or the Decepticons. They become very secondaries, even push it, rudimentary, a third or fourth nature to it. And then just adding gimmicks, have the Dinobots, have Fucking Teen Arthur and Excalibur the Sword and whatever the hell. And then each film felt like the same movie over and over again. Here's a MacGuffin that the Decepticons want. Autobots need to protect it. And what was it? It was the Allspark, and then it was whatever the hell it was in the second film. Each one's like this, almost the same plot. And it just got old real quick, and they took something that could be very interesting, very fun, and they really dug into the ground. And Michael Bay is a big fault of that. And I'm not even a guy that absolutely despises Michael Bay like other people do. I know there's all a preamble. I'll get to Bumblebee in a minute. But I like Michael Bay when he's doing films like The Rock, Bad Boys 1 and 2. I even liked The Island. I liked Pain and Gain. Yes, I even liked Six Underground with Ryan Reynolds. But him directing these, most of them, and then producing the Ninja Turtle films in 2014, which fell into the same trap and the same issues and problems. I think that's one of the other big reasons why I became even more browbeating those Michael Bay Transformer films because they led to those piece of shit Ninja Turtle movies that, wow, you finally get the biggest budget these films ever had. They finally get to be in live action again, when the last time they were in live action was 1993 in terms of movies. From 1993 to 2014, and it's the shit that they took from Transformers. I felt pissed at myself for not minding the first one, even bits of the second, because of what it led to this. Changing the designs to make them look uglier, more focus on the humans, all the stupid fucking humor. Whether in the first Transformers, Bumblebee pisses on John Turturro, pretty much what he did, or the Pop Brownie shit, or in the 2014 Ninja Turtles film, where Mikey gets stuck in a sewer tunnel with his brothers and farts on his brothers' faces because he had too much pepperoni. And then when you got to the Marky Mark and his Funky Bunch Transformers, they felt like 5 hours long. I remember, what was it, Age of Extinction? There was a battle in like Hong Kong or somewhere. The fight felt like it lasted an hour, the fight scene. It felt endless. And I love action. But goddamn, I'm like, that's all didn't account to this film, which I didn't give much of a fair shot because I would see bits and pieces, and I knew Michael Bay wasn't directing it. It was this guy Travis Knight that, honestly, he had only done Kubo and the Two Strings, which I might have seen. I might have seen and not thought it was a bad movie, but I'm like, okay, whatever. But I'm like, whatever, fucking dismissive. But watching it, while I do have issues with the film, it's not a bad movie. The next one, the new Transformers, that's a bad movie, and I'll get to that. But this one, the fact it felt not unique as a movie, it feels a lot like the Iron Giant. Imagine the Iron Giant, but if the Iron Giant was Bumblebee. That's really what this movie is. So as a movie itself, it's not the most original. Maybe there's even elements of E.T. and other movies, but among the Transformers what had come before, the previous 5 films, it felt refreshing. I think that's what a lot of people, not all, but a lot of people felt when this film came out. Yeah, it takes place in the 80s, but I did not mind the usage of the songs. Maybe because I actually like the songs. Runaway by Bon Jovi, Everyone Wants to Rule the World, Weird Science. Yes, you even hear The Touch for a little bit. You got the power. The acting wasn't too bad, although I'm not a John Cena fan. I guess he was average for what he needed to be, this military guy. Although part of me's like, did you really need this guy? But whatever. He's not my first or second or third choice. But Hailee Steinfeld, I'm bad with names. Hailee, who's the star, where she's with her family, her mom, her stepdad, her little brother. She's recovering from the death of her father. And she misses him so badly and wishes her father would come back. You know, her father's passed away. She's trying to deal with it. She works on cars. She finds stuff at a junkyard. She's not popular at school. Her dad was really into her diving, but she's scared to do it because, you know, she would do it with her dad there, but now that her dad's not there. I thought that Hailee did a pretty good job. She was a solid actress. And I'm like, this girl seems familiar. She was Gwen Stacy in Into the Spider-Verse. I'm assuming she's in the sequel as well. I haven't seen it, but I like the first Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. For those who say I hate everything, I like Into the Spider-Verse, and I didn't mind this movie watching it all the way through. Because on one end, I could see people going, well, there's not a lot of action in the movie. But when the action's there, it's fairly well done. There's a lot of practical explosions. There's a really cool sequence, flashback on Cybertron during the battle. The designs of the Transformers look very much like the 80s cartoon. They look much better, much more simple, less complicated, less jagged edges, and the faces, like, it all looks much more appropriate. I thought Travis Knight and his crew did a really good job, and it was the right choice to do that. Because then there are times in fight scenes in those Michael Bay films where you didn't know who was fighting who because they all looked the same mash of metal and grind. Here, colorful yellow and that Optimus red, and they make the colors a bit brighter. And again, because the designs are a bit simpler, they still seem more distinct in a weird way, and just look much cleaner and much more aesthetically pleasing. That helps. It serves as a prequel, but at the same time, it doesn't really, so I would just assume this is just a reboot. Which I know is weird because it's like the movie, it doesn't know if it wants to be a prequel to the Michael Bay films or wants to be a reboot. Because, oh, this is the first time Transformers are going to Earth, but at the same time I thought that was in 2007 when they first went to Earth at the first movie. And then what about the whole thing with the last night, fuck it. Good luck trying to get this continuity down pat. So, it's like I said, acts like a prequel because Bumblebee eventually you find out how he lost his voice and why he talks through the radio, which was in the Michael Bay films, but at the same time the continuity time frame doesn't match, so I don't know what that's about. But yeah, I mean, you see this war in Cybertron, and I'm sitting there going, why don't we just have a movie there? Have the characters be these characters, okay, what they do in their downtime, and I'm not talking about, let's play records about farts, or whatever the hell stupid shit Seth Rogen would do if he did the fucking movie. Says he did with Ninja Turtles. The Transformers don't go to prom, and smoke weed every day, and Optimus don't kiss I don't know, a blender. Ah, fuck. But I mean, why would the War of Cybertron? It looked really cool. Optimus Prime comes in as a badass, as he should. Almost wish they had the. Yes, very nostalgic. It would be, and nostalgic masturbation. It would be, but I think it would have been great if they played The Touch or music from the show during that sequence. Bumblebee showing he's a badass. He rips a Decepticon's head off and kicks it into another to help Optimus Prime. And you hear Bumblebee's voice. You actually hear Bumblebee's voice. Which was nice to hear. I can't remember the last Michael Bay film they did that. I barely remember those ones. So if it did, oh well, sue me. But it was nice to hear his actual voice. And you even see Soundwave and all these other guys. I wish we could have seen more of Soundwave and Starscream and all these other characters. I wish we could have seen more of that. I think that's really what people want out of Transformers, is to see them, the battle on Cybertron and that type of stuff. But they always have these humans, which were part of the cartoon, but at the same time it's like too much time on this stuff. So they're losing Cybertron, they have to get the hell out of Dodge, they eject out, Bumblebee lands on Earth, he's supposed to set up a base of operations there to scout the Earth because they're losing the war, establish a base, protect it. When he lands amidst John Cena and his crew on a training mission. They chase Bumblebee through the woods. A Decepticon follow Bumblebee. They get into a fight where Bumblebee gets his voice box ripped off, but he's able to get the missile, jam into Decepticon, blow his sorry ass away. He's losing his memory, he's losing all this stuff. Then it jumps to a time when Hailee, looking through the junkyard, finds his car. Okay, picks up the car, fixes it. There's Bumblebee. They start Bumblebee, he's acting the way he is because he doesn't have his memory, so he's acting like like the Iron Giant. He's really acting like the Iron Giant. And I guess it depends how you feel about that. I like the Iron Giant, so I don't mind the motif that he uses here. Again, it's not the most original. I can understand people now wanting that for a Transformers movie, but I think as a movie, I should say, as a actual movie, the fact that it's not bombastic every 5 seconds, the fact that it feels a bit smaller so that when the actresses do work, it's like, oh, it's well done practical effects, and it feels much more understandable. It doesn't feel so nausea-inducing and clusterfuckery. I know it's not a word, but sometimes those fights would seem like a clusterfuck. It didn't seem like way in this. Again, there's not a lot. A chunk of it is the girl and the car bonding, but Hailee was a likable lady. She wasn't bitchy. She wasn't yelling and making fun of Bumblebee, which that's part of the reason why a lot of people didn't like Shia LaBeouf's character. I don't think it was Shia his acting. It was the way his character was written, fairly poor, where he's just like yelling at Bumblebee all the time or talking smack to Bumblebee all the time. And people liked Bumblebee because here's, it's a Transformer and the way he looks and the fact he can't use his own voice. And also, this is a film that, I didn't mind the 80s aesthetic in this. I thought it worked for what it was trying to be. Like I said, the usage of the songs, the look of the film. It had a decent enough heart on his sleeve and shoulders. I didn't really give a shit about Hailee's family. Like, her younger brother is about as annoying as those Ninja Turtles in that new movie. Just wanted to just pick him up, body slam him through the earth. Through the core of the earth. Just choke slam him through the earth. He was really irritating. The stuff with the mom and the stepdad, and the stepdad gives her like a book of, hey, smile. And I'm thinking, yeah, I'll smile when I punch you in the face. That'll make me smile. I was hoping she would say that. Of course she doesn't. Hey, people, they say if you smile more, you'll get more friends. I'm like, yeah? How much you gonna smile when my fist is through your teeth? And I'm wearing your teeth as brass knuckles. Okay, Toothy, McGrin. Get a McGamebang, get a something from Mickey D's, have a coke and smile and shut the fuck up. So I didn't like the stepdad and the younger... I didn't like them. Throw them away in the garbage. The mom was alright, but I don't know, there's a less interesting part of it. There's another guy that she likes, and he's okay. I mean, he finds out what's going on, and he's pretty cool with it, and like I said, not a whole lot. There's bits of human drama, which I can see how that would turn people off. Because at times it does forget, like, the film is called Bumblebee. Let's have more Bumblebee in a Bumblebee movie. So I think that's really one of the big negatives I have with it, is that you're wanting more Bumblebee in a Bumblebee movie. But the stuff is cute. When she's trying all these cassette tapes, and one of them is what's that singer's name? Rick Ashby. Never give you up, never put you down. And then Bumblebee just jettisons it out. And then there's a party that's like, do I give a shit that this girl's dad died? Can we focus more on Bumblebee? And he's an outcast of this war, and is his brethren still alive? And can we have more focus on that as development? That'd be cool, but that's not the movie it is. I do appreciate that it has an edge to it. I mean, there's not a lot of jokes that I thought was cringeworthy, piss jokes, fart jokes, pop brownies. So it didn't. It did a bit of the less is more quality compared to the Michael Bay films, and it was actually to its benefit. To calm things down, to take a step back and refocus a bit, take a bit of that sugar rush off, and let's see what direction we can go in. to kind of try to set things in a way back to square one after over-the-top insanity. And everything didn't look like a CGI cut, video game cutscene. Here's a background and all looks like just on a CGI green screen set. Which, when you see that so many times, it takes you out. Didn't seem like the case in this, which was nice to see. And I was talking about the Edge, like there's a couple Decepticons who find out that something's going on Earth. So there's like one Autobot, spoilers, that they're trying to get information out of, torturing the guy, and then they fucking cut him in half. They fucking cut him in half. I'm like, Jesus Christ. Or they will kill humans by shooting at them and they pop like a water balloon. Literal water balloon. It's not red, so I guess to keep that rating, but I guess because the human body's made a lot of water, pops like a water balloon. I'm like, ooh, shit. Okay. Interesting. And sometimes the jokes were cute. Like, there's a bit where some people cringe at this, some people smirk at this. I smirked at it. This is Bully that was picked on Hailee, and hey, let's go aid his car. So Bumblebee takes it and aids it, but then he gets on top and he jumps on the car, smashes it, and people are coming out. She's like, "Get out, hide!" So it tries to hide behind the car until finally, okay, turn to the car. They get the hell out. And then again, that car chase scene almost reminded me of Herbie the Love Bug. Which that might not sound enticing to people, which I can understand why, but it just, again, when you see so much of one thing, when you take a step back and go a little bit of direction, take it a little bit more heartfelt, a little bit more calming down, a little less zany and a lot less shitty, it's a step in the right direction. It's not the best bona fide Transformers, but it's a step in the right direction. Again, even John Cena was manageable. I'm not a big John Cena fan, but he was manageable in this. But again, it kind of gets it to sort of this familiar territory where Transformer gets caught by the military, and then what's the military going to do to the Transformer, and the humans have to try to help it, and what can we do, and Transformer wants to save a human, and they die, or they're close to death, or they need to be resuscitated, or like stuff you see a lot, and it just falls into those patterns that, it feels as if when they keep concentrating on the humans and they keep having it on Earth, it seems like there's only so, to them, not to you or me, but to them, there's only so few stories to tell. But at the same time, like, the action scenes were cool enough, and the fights, spoilers, Bumblebee fucks up one, gets chains on it, rips it apart. Like I said, the designs, the fight scenes, they're manageable, and they're easy to understand, and each robot is very easy to differentiate, and the choreography is much easier to understand. The lead actress is likable, she's not irritating or grating, it's not woke, it's not political. Like, Bumblebee was a nice, I don't want to say little, but it was a nice movie that is worth at least one shot if you're a fan of these characters. If you're a fan of Bumblebee, if you're a fan of Transformers, it's a good stepping stone that sadly fell flat on his fucking face with the next one I'm going to talk about, Rise of the Shitters. I mean, Rise of the Bitches. I mean, Rise of the Beasts. Because that one was right back to the bullshit Michael Bay. And Michael Bay didn't even direct it. The guy who did, I think Creed 2 did it? I think. If I'm wrong, I think so. That the guy who did Creed 2 did it. It's like, great. I'll do that next time. And sadly, I can see why this film didn't do that well when it came out. Like, when this film came out, it wasn't this huge hit. And neither was this new one, which I can see why with the new one. Trust me, I can see why. But it's too bad with this one, because this is a pretty decent film. Its heart is in the right place. Its story is in the right place in terms of in retrospect, it would have been nice if this was the first movie. If this was the first Transformers film anyone ever saw, they go, wow, okay. Now we have somewhere to build. Now we have somewhere to go. Okay, we've seen a taste with Cybertron. We see Bumblebee. And there'd be people understandably mad. Where's the other Transformers? Why are they doing this? But, okay, it's a good stepping stone. Okay, next time we do this, this, and this. But by the time we get to Bumblebee, let alone the next one, you had already seen 5 live-action, 2.5-hour times or more Transformer movies. And once you see one robot fight another robot, at times it gets a bit repetitive or redundant, or the spectacle loses its luster. The intrigue loses its luster. And I'll talk about more with the next one. Maybe in 2007 you see, wow, I've never seen this before. When it's the 5th, 6th, 7th time, it's just another day at the office. And now that luster is completely gone, and you're just left with a whole heaping of indifference. Just like me, like, oh, Bumblebee, whatever. I saw the 5 Transformers, whatever. There's probably a lot of people that felt the same way as I did. And then, I'm not going to say this is a classic or a great movie, like 5 out of 5 stars. I'm like, it's a decent film. It's a pretty decent movie. You know, for those who say I hate everything. And yeah, I would like to have seen much more Bumblebee. Maybe put some drama. What, like, maybe not have him lose his voice so early on. Maybe have him, like, okay, have him keep his voice, get to know the character a bit more while talking with this girl, and then maybe in the middle he fights and he saves the girl, but he gets his voice ripped out, and she's trying to fix it, but she can't, but then she has the radio, and he's depressed, but then he's gonna not let this beat him, because he remembers some words Optimus Prime said to him, and hell, it's an 80s movie, get a fucking training montage. Did like, he's busted up, and his voice, and he's training his voice, and he's training his movements to make sure they work right, and a Transformers Bumblebee training montage. Hell, get some fucking Hearts on Fire in there. Or get some Thunder in Your Heart from Rad. There you go, a 80s Transformer training montage. Who's with me on that? Like, I would like to have seen that kind of craziness. Less about Hailee's dad, which, again, was decent character work for her, but at the same time, it's not the main reason why you don't see a movie like this. It's just not that awfully done compared to other movies. But, as I said, Hailee, capable actress who did a good job. So again, if you want to see a movie similar to The Iron Giant, but has that Transformers motif and some nice, again, the Cybertron sequence and stuff, some nice action pieces, it's worth a watch. And it's not over long. Goes at a pretty decent pace. It might be the shortest of the live action ones, I think. I think it was. It wasn't that long of a movie, which I was surprised by. So it was pretty decently paced. Especially like the first 30 minutes went by so easily. I'm like, okay, this is different than the usual. And I'm so glad it doesn't have like so many stupid fucking cringeworthy jokes of him pissing on another guy, or oh, he did something, it's a exhaust, but they make it look like a fart. Thankfully, I mean, I could see a Transformer movie sadly doing that for, is that funny? Again, I even like with the villains, the idea they have where when they come down and they visit the humans, they make a smart plan. They go, you know what? Let's not attack them. We'll say we're peacekeepers, and we're looking for this criminal. This criminal, Bumblebee. We're looking for this guy. He's a criminal. He's going to hurt your society, your race. I like that they were a little bit smarter than some villains I see in movies, so I didn't mind that bit of business. Overall, like I said, not a bad movie. Decent film. With that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.